What's up, guys? Welcome back to Michigan Muscle. I'm Mike Shana. I've got my Camaro behind me that's been freshly rewrapped. I should say wrapped since just about Christmas time, so a few months now, and I wanted to give you guys kind of an update on how the wrap's held up because I daily drive my car. So I've been taking it through winter, I've been washing it, I've been beating the absolute crap out of it down dirt roads, and like I said, with salt and everything else. It really, there's a lot of wear and tear on the car, and I'm not a professional wrapper either, so I'm just going to update you how my wrap job turned out, and along with what I'm going to have to be rewrapping too. It didn't turn out perfect. So come over here, take a look at the first major issue that I had on my wrap, which was the mirrors. So if you look, follow these edges, everything that's convex, has these convex curves, looks good. It stuck really well, the vinyl held up really well, but when you go to the concave areas, like in here where there's high tension and that has to kind of bow in, the material all pulled out. And what I think that was caused to is either A, I didn't put enough material in there, or B, I didn't use any of that primer, any of that adhesive. So I think when I rewrap, I'm going to use the adhesive just to make sure it stays on there really well. But everything else stayed on the mirror really well and turned out good. So it's not bad for my first time wrapping. I mean, I kind of expected something to come up, and I've just been too lazy to rewrap this because as you guys saw in the first video that I made when I initially wrapped the car, it's just kind of starting to come off a little bit. But this is pretty major now, and it looks horrible, but I'll fix it later when I have the time for it. Okay guys, so moving on to the side of the car, we'll take a look at the door handles. And the door handles I had a big issue with as well. I noticed some slight fingering along the edges when I first finished up the wrap, and it progressively got worse and worse. So if you come in close, you can see where the material is really starting to lift up and pull away from the handle. And again, I think this is due to I didn't wrap the material all the way around the edge, and it wasn't bonded as well as it should have been. So when I go back and redo these a second time, I'm gonna use that primer, that adhesive for the vinyl, and I think it'll bond a lot better because, I mean, the side, if you look at the side of the door handle over here, I mean, everything else turned out really well. In here and around this little insert piece, I mean, there's no problems with this. It was just this handle, so I think it's doable. It's just a matter of using the right bonding techniques, per se. All right, coming to the back of the car, the next problem area that I had was with the spoiler, and a lot of it was kind of minute, but one of these sharp edges gave me some problems. It's starting to split here, as you can see, which isn't horrible, and splitting along the seam also. And I really do think this is due to just not using that edge sealer. So, along with around these stanchions too, the material's kind of spreading apart. As you can see, it's hard to tell, but the material's coming off, so I just need to redo the whole spoiler and use the that sealer. But other than that, the roof's holding up really well. The rest of the panels are holding up well. My bumper I messed up pretty badly because I did it myself, so I didn't have the luxury of using a second person to help stretch the material over it like I did on the front bumper where I had my dad help me. So the rear bumper doesn't look that great, but I mean, hey, it's my first time wrapping, I don't really care. It turned out okay for 10 feet, but other than that, you can't really tell. The only other problems that I had, and I think they were due to the winter and to the cold, were if we come back around to the front of the car, some things that I noticed were, and I already patched them, but some of the material, especially down here, was starting to tear away. So right down here by these vents, it was actually breaking away, and you could see the silver through it. So I put a small patch piece over it just so that it would look good and you couldn't see the silver. But if you come in close and really analyze it, and you can see that there's material that's been covered up and patched and everything else. So it's fine, but you know, it's a first wrap job. I'll probably end up redoing the bumper again at some point anyways, just because it didn't turn out as good as I wanted it to, but it still looks good enough for the point of being a first wrap. Another problem area that I noticed as well, too, is that on this side skirt right here, which I think was from rocks peppering this and just it not being bonded as well when I first installed it, but this is kind of flapping off. But once again, like when the wheel's straight and you're not really looking right at it, you can't really tell. Because like even with the mirrors, when you look back at the car, you can't really tell that the mirrors are jacked up. I mean, you can now that I pointed it out, but just seeing it come down the road, it looks pretty good. Like it doesn't look bad, I don't think. So you wouldn't notice any of those things I just pointed out. So overall, I'm happy with it. So I think the next steps are I'm going to rewrap the mirror, the spoiler, and the door handles and see how well those turn out. I'm going to record those for you guys this time. I know I didn't last time just because I spent a whole full weekend, literally a full weekend, 48 hours basically wrapping the car and pulling it apart. So I was kind of just worn out from it. I didn't feel like recording everything. So, but now since I'm doing those separately, I'll have the time to record them for you guys, and I'll post those up and hopefully do a better job using that adhesive and really getting the material to bond. But as always, if you guys have any suggestions or comments on what I should film next or improvements on my wrap that I should do, comment below, like this video, and as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.